Hello everyone. So this is my first attempt to ever summarize a book, and the first book that I'm going to summarize is this particular one, Manifest: 7 Steps to Living Your Best Life by author Roxy Nafusi. I had seen her podcast once on YouTube with Jay Shetty, and she talked so passionately about the manifestation process. And in this book, she has mentioned and condensed it down to 7 steps that could be taken in order to manifest anything that you want to achieve in your life. Uh, so today, I'm going to give those 7 steps and at least initiate a conversation on what was my understanding from the book or what I took from the book. If we talk about the concept of manifestation and law of attraction, we always come across the quotes like how you are creating your life, how your thoughts are creating your reality. And in one such thing, the author has also quoted this one sentence where she says that you are the designer, curator, and architect of your life. This, in a way, I think she wants to tell you that how powerful we all are and how we have this power over our lives, and not complete, we are not victim to anything. We can create the lives we want. Do have that power. So the first step that she mentions is be clear in your vision. On the first chapter is titled Be Clear in Your Vision. Why so? Because our brain is super powerful. It is incredibly powerful and can, if you suppose, for example, if you imagine or you remember a situation from the past where something horrible had happened, if you imagine it, you will actually see physiological responses in your body, the panic, the stress, anxiety, anything. You can see your body reacting to it. So this is the thing, your brain does not know the difference between something that is real and imagined. It cannot differentiate between these two events and would actually physically produce the responding events to it, responding reactions to it, I mean. So there is this one quote in the book that is from the book The Source by Dr. Tara Swart. The quote is, or the sentence that it is mentioned is, when we create an experience in our minds, our brain responds as if it's really happening, which in itself clarifies how powerful our brain is and how we as visualizers are so powerful to actually bring something into experience just by thinking about it, actually feel it in our body. So if you go on and just if you go on, suppose you have made it clear that you want XYZ kind of a car, and you think about it, you'll feel happy. If you think about the interior, the smell of the leather, maybe the seats, anything, you'll feel it, you'll actually feel the happiness of it. And in the same way, think about something negative, we are going to feel it as well. In this book, it is filled with exercises, a few exercises here and there, that those are actually very helpful. There's this one exercise that is, you imagine your future self, the best version, whatever, the wildest reality that you can think for your future self. You think about it, and you feel that person. What do they do? How they start their morning, and what kind of people they are meeting, what kind of places they are going to, etc. And imagine, achieving all of that. After you have imagined the best, your future best self, there is this one tool that she mentions very clearly, and all of us has come across one time or the other, is the vision board. The vision board in itself is a visual representation of how you would want your life to look like. So there are 7 steps that the author is mentioning on how to create a vision board. And for that, first thing that she mentions, or she says out clearly, is set the scene. Play some music, some good music that you'd like. Play some music, light a candle, do whatever it feels like to create this vision board creation like a sacred event. Create like it, make it into a sacred event. Then second step is choose your medium. What do you want? Where do you want it to be? On your laptop, on your tablet, on your phone, wall, bedroom wall, wherever. Physical or digital, you choose the medium. Then third is set the timeline. The timeline that works for you. You think, or you can at least accept in yourself, in your belief, that this is something that I would achieve in 6 months, a year, or maybe 5 years. Any timeline that's actually you think that you would be able to believe. And then get in the zone. Again, imagine your future selves and imagine your future self and how they are reacting, doing, etc., etc. Let those visuals in your visuals get into your head, what kind of pictures you're thinking about, and take ideas that these kind of images actually trigger this feeling in you, so that you can actually put certain things on your vision boards. Take reference from these visuals that those are spinning in your head when you think about something like this. The next thing that she says is, the fifth step is that categorize life areas. She has categorized these things, life, into six areas. Those are personal growth, love and romance, career, hobbies and leisure, friends and family, and last is home, house or home. After you have categorized, we can start with designing our lives. So for each category from the earlier step, we can write at least three goals we want to achieve in each of the categories. And once we have done that, we'll refer to the visuals that we had created in our head, which got us feeling amazing. We'll put it on our vision board. We'll create our vision board, and then finally, in the seventh step, she's saying, put the vision board away. This is completely an optional step. If it works for you to look at it every day and get inspired, motivated, do it. Great, just keep it. But this is a completely optional step. The chapter second, that is removing fear or limiting beliefs. As we have talked earlier, subconscious is extremely powerful. It's immense. Its power is immense. But there is also fear and doubt that resides in there only. So, fear, limiting beliefs, insecurities, they mask as friends in order to protect you. They could mask like that, but they always hold you back from achieving what you want. There is one more exercise here. So, in one column, we are writing the things that we want to manifest, and in the another column on its side, we can write what fears do we have around this particular thing that we want to manifest. Like this, we can start to identify what is actually holding us back and what are the actual gaps between our desire and our belief. What are actual gaps that can be identified with this. Why it becomes so necessary for us to overcome our fears, doubts, or limiting beliefs? Because, as Carl Jung said, I have it in my notes, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So, we do have to overcome our negative thoughts in order for us to be the master and the curator of our journey. There are four ways to overcome fears or doubts, and first being master your thoughts. As the author has mentioned, master your thoughts. What happens is our subconscious actually always obeys our conscious. So, all we have to do is be in consistent awareness of what our thoughts are that we are feeding to our conscious, which in turn go to our subconscious. National Science Foundation has given out some data that there are a human being has 60,000 thoughts per day, and from those 60,000 thoughts, 80% are negative and 90% are repetitive. So just imagine the kind of negative beliefs that we have strengthened against ourselves in our subconscious. Second being, watch your language. There could be certain mindful swaps that could be made in our daily lives in order for us to be conscious of what kind of language we are using for ourselves. We can replace ifs with when. We can accept more compliments. We don't have to negate the compliments that we are receiving just to be modest. We can do that. Third thing is using mantras. That is, it could be affirmations. You know how people have habit of I'm beautiful, I'm rich, etc., keeping it as their phone's wallpaper, sticking it up on the wall, maybe fridge, etc. We should be doing that. We should be exposing ourselves to such things because it feeds our subconscious, and we need to believe what we want to achieve. We need to believe all of that. And the fourth point would be to visualize the best case scenarios for ourselves. Our subconscious brain is the most susceptible during at the time when we have just woken up, when we are about to fall asleep and we are meditating. At that time, if we bombard our head with certain visuals or affirmations, that can really help us. The one more thing that comes across when we want to actually manifest something is self love, cultivating self love. Why it becomes very important to cultivate self love? It is because it is the driving force behind any manifestation. So, self love can can range from drinking one extra glass of water to hydrate yourself to cutting off toxic people from your life because they just don't make you feel appreciated, comfortable, etc. anymore. That is the range, and no step is small, no step is very useless or anything. It when you do something like that, you are translating or communicating with the universe that you do respect yourself, you're actually worthy of more, or you're actually worthy of receiving more that you are desiring. So it translates like that. Then there's this at third step of the book, that is aligning your behavior or taking action. The universe does not respond to thoughts alone. It is said so that you can just think and you'll get it. I don't know if it has worked for people, but all of us know that taking action really is necessary. I have heard this in one of Lily Singh's interview. I think the universe respects the law of attraction, but it respects the law of hustle even more. I think I've heard it there. I'm sorry if I'm misquoting anything, but that is true. We have to take hmm, when you take actions or align your behavior, you are actually showing the universe that you believe you are worthy of deserving what you are desiring. So being proactive, it is that the element of doing is very very much needed. You could be fearful, you could be scared, but you have to do it anyway. Just like I'm doing this, I'm not even sure why I'm doing this. I wanted to for a long time and I'm scared, I'm still scared as hell. But so there's this one thing that we have heard: fake it till you make it. Here the author says, fake it till you become it. Just imagine yourself, your future self, the most magnificent self that you imagine yourself to be in the future. Just imagine that person, how do they behave, what they are like, what kind of clothes they are wearing, the house they're entering, the kind of people they are meeting, etc. Just imagine all of that, and just imagine what kind of habits do they have as well. Because the person that you're imagining, of course they are the best version of yourself, so definitely they have some, you which you would by the way know, because all of us know what is better. What person doesn't know how to lose weight? All of us do, right? But it is just about the inaction. So pick up on what kind of habits your future self would have, and pick up on those habits and start imbibing that, start doing it right away. Your subconscious will start panicking at first, it will not like it, it will get uncomfortable, but you still have to do it because discomfort is completely non-negotiable. When our brain gets uncomfortable, it will procrastinate, or maybe will hold back, and won't allow us to maybe take that step. In that case, there's this one method to overcome that and just do it anyway. That is called, Mel Robbins calls it, the 5 second rule. The moment you have an instinct to act, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just act, and just start moving on that particular thought that you have. Start doing it and you will do it. The fourth chapter, or the fourth step that is mentioned in the book, is overcoming the tests of universe, and clearing the obstacles. um, in the journey of self-love, we have to do this one more thing, that is forgiving ourselves, being kind to ourselves, and being compassionate towards ourselves. It did the best it could in that particular moment with whatever was available, whatever it thought was the best thing. We just have to forgive them, that particular version of ourselves. Then when I talk about clearing of obstacles, remember that whenever you come across an opportunity to stay away from anything that is not serving you, take it, just take it immediately. Clear your path, ease up your path. If you want to be healthy, throw out all the junk food that you have in your house. Throw out all the junk food from the fridge, just throw it away. Replace it with healthier options. So ease up your path. Make it easier for yourself to follow that particular path. Then there is the fifth step, that is embrace gratitude. When you have a clear vision of what you want or what you're longing for, plus you're very grateful for what you currently have, that is the perfect manifesting sweet spot. That is the perfect spot from where you can manifest. When we think that I want something, or I will be happy when, etc., etc., we are actually translating that to the universe, saying that I'm still lacking of something. Rather than doing that, we can just do this one thing: be utterly grateful of whatever we have right now, and it is okay to long for something else. They can coexist, that is possible. In order to cultivate such gratitude, to raise our vibration, there are two ways of doing it. First being creating a gratitude list, and there is a second thing that you can practice as well, that is positivity journal. By the end of the day, mention everything that went really well in the during the day. If you came across a beautiful sunset, or maybe some beautiful scenery, you saw someone else showing kindness to someone else, or something great happened to you, you got to take a walk somewhere and it was very fulfilling, whatever. Just write all the positive things that went in your day, write down everything, every small thing. This will help you to pick on more positive things during your days, and strengthen your faith in the universe that okay, things are actually showing up or coming towards you. It will actually help you raise your vibration as well. Gratitude helps you raise your vibration for sure. So finally, we are on step 6, that is turning envy into inspiration. As we all know, envy is a very low vibrational emotion, and to turn it into inspiration, envy loosely translates to, oh, I'm lacking something, there is lack, and inspiration, oh, there is abundant, there is a lot for me to have it as well. So, very different emotions, very different vibration of emotions. As we live in the world of social media, there are two ways it can work. Social media, first thing, this constant comparison, the feeling of lack, and therefore growing envy. The second way that it can work is it can inspire us, motivate us, and help us connect as well. And for in order for us to fall in the second category, where we are getting inspired and motivated, there are two things that we can do. First is curate our feeds and scroll mindfully. If you suppose, for example, there's this one example quoted. If you suppose, just example, you wanted to get married and someone else is getting married, you get an invite. So instead of being envious, which is possible sometimes, if instead of getting envious, what we can do is accept the invitation gracefully, go to it, look at the beautiful decoration, the music, enjoy the food, and visualize and feel it for yourself how you would want your wedding to look like. It helps you visualize how actually it would look like, how you would actually feel. It can actually help you do that. A little bit of inspiration or motivation that can come from that particular event. And finally, we turn to the seventh step, that is, it is the most integral, that is trusting the universe. Trusting the universe is having that knowing feeling, that it is going to work out. You don't know how, you don't even bother about how. That is when you trust the universe. You don't bother how it is going to happen. You just do your part and you know that it is going to happen. You have to always believe that universe has your back, it has your best interest, and is constantly working in your favor. All we have to do is surrender. So that was the book. That was the summary or the gist of Manifest by Roxy Nafusi, the 7 steps. And I hope this was helpful. I hope it helps you in some way or the other. And we are all powerful beyond measure. You are the curator, architect of your life. You can shape it the way you want.